Yeah, sure. You
Yes.
can go and get started. I'm sure
Oh,
people will continue to trickle in.
All right. So, in the spirit of last night's basketball game, I feel like, I'm the moderator. My name is Shane Devine. I should probably introduce myself. I'm the VP of Sales. I'm running point on this bad boy. I've got a bunch of ballers with me today. These guys bomb threes, dunking all over the place. Not only do these guys work hard and play hard, as you can see, they look good doing it as well. So let's meet our starting lineup, if you will. Starting with Kendall Jane Hunt, otherwise known as KJ. KJ has been in the industry now for a year? Off to an
Yeah.
amazing start, closed 18 already with another three pending. If you add it all up, you're approaching 10 million in sales. Not a bad start to your career. Congratulations. I have an icebreaker for each of you just to kind of like warm things up here. So, KJ, when you think of like if you had to say you had a real estate like superpower per se, one thing that your clients can count on from you for, what do you think that superpower might be?
oh man. I think my superpower, which also may be the downfall, is that I care way too much. Yeah. Like every single person that I meet and they become clients, they're just automatically family to me and I care way too much. So they can always count on me to make sure that every single thing that we're doing is how I would do it myself.
Oh,
Awesome.
no, it just means you're passionate. I'm sure your clients pick up on that, and no doubt they feel that, which is why you're already off to such a tremendous start. Next up is Nevin. Nevin and I go way back to December 2020. I remember the first time I met you. You started in the Raleigh office. He's now over in Charlotte. He's the managing partner, running the show over there. Nevin, production is no longer your primary role, but when it was, you were a baller too, right? 73 million or 73 closed units, I should say, for over 30 million in sales. So you definitely have a lot of experience that you can lean into today. And I'm excited to hear what you have to say in terms of advice for people who are getting into the business, et cetera. So my question for you is, if real estate had a theme song for Nevin Whitehead, for your real estate career, what song would it be and why?
Um, so I thought about this long and hard. And by the way, let's just go back. 73 million sounded a lot better.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I flipped that
so
around.
yeah, you could just row with that and I've been very happy camper. So I thought it was Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, because sometimes you feel like you're just getting run to the ground in this industry, but it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah.
But I'm going to
Yes.
switch it up to Who Let the Dogs Out by the Baja Boys.
Nice. Okay.
And the reason
Why?
being,
Yeah.
And the reason being is that you have to have a certain tenacity for this industry, a
Hmm.
certain amount of grind. You fail a ton, right? And who doesn't love that song, right? So that's it. That's my
Yeah.
song of choice.
I thought for sure you were going to be coming with Mr. Brightside because if you know Nevin, he
No.
does try to like see the bright side and everything. And plus it's a banger, right?
It's a banger. I love it. That was almost too generic for me, even though this weekend at a wedding I will be singing my face off to that song because I'm sure it will come on.
I'm sure you will.
But yes, that's also a great one.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you. Next up is Carolina. Carolina,
Hello.
is it true that you've been in the business now 2 years? I can't even believe it. Time is just flying by.
Yeah.
You've had an amazing start to your career as well. Already sold over 50 homes. I think it's 51 to date, and approaching 21, $22 million in volume. That's just awesome. My question for you is, if you could sell a home to any celebrity, who would it be? And what kind of home would you help them find?
It will be
It will be.
Henry Cavill.
Okay. And that is the actor that plays.
Yes, Superman, of course. I mean, I don't have to explain why, right?
No.
But also, I think the type of house, I know he liked to cook a lot. I know he liked dogs and animals, and uh, he likes like this type of outside door, outside kitchens, like with
Yeah.
oven for pizza and grills and all that, which I love to. So that will be the type of house I will be looking something with a lot of land. He's not a fancy guy, so really cozy and farmhouse type with a
Hmm.
lot of space and privacy.
Yeah.
Because we want privacy. He wants to be private
You
there.
seem to know a lot about him.
AJ,
Yeah,
you took the words out of my mouth.
do we think
Like-
Superman's on Zillow? Like, is there a chance that-
Every time I pick up the phone, I say, "Hey, is you Henry?" But no.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And last, but certainly not least, Andrew Hill, based here in Raleigh. You've been in the industry for a year and a half, and you were elsewhere before you came to Dash, which I think is interesting. You're going to have that perspective. Before Dash, I think you closed 3 deals, right?
Yes, sir.
And then since you've been with us, you've in 5 months, you've already gotten 16 contracts. So wow, what a difference that is. My question for you is, and you probably get this, with your friends at parties and or whatnot, but like everybody, if they've been doing this for a while, has some sort of like crazy, bizarre real estate story where they're showing a house to someone and something happens. Do you have a quick story for us? Anything that's happened to you?
Oh, absolutely. This is actually what happened on my mock showing and onboarding that I first did. I was showing the house like normal. We were, it was me and Pat, and we were going up, and we look out the window, and like on the lot next door, there is a legit squatters camp, like right next to the house. This lot is, I mean, it's not even it's like a tenth of an acre. So, and I've never seen that before.
That was a heck of a start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of knew what I was in for after that.
Yeah, right. All right. So Maddie, you gave this panel a title, and I'm looking at my notes here. It's called Rookie to Closer, the No BS Way to Win as a New Agent. Did I get that right? So I guess the idea is we know that real estate can be very challenging, especially in the beginning. I can remember the statistic that was thrown out there back in the day was 1 in 10 made it out of their first year in real estate. Now I'm hearing things like 85% fail in their first 5 years. There's just such a steep learning curve, and the odds are definitely stacked against us as the market changes, and there's just so much competition for agents in general. So today we're going to talk to these 4 individuals about how they've gone about it, find out some of their secrets and tips for success. So if you're joining us and watching this today, hopefully you can take a few things away with you to kind of build upon and get your career rocking and rolling, of course. As I was thinking through this morning of these 4 individuals, 2 in Charlotte, 2 in Raleigh, to me, when I look at you guys, I think of this panel is made up of professionals with personality. And what I mean by that is we teach home value contract, right? So a Dash agent knows the home inside and out and can identify issues like a home inspector would. A Dash agent knows how to accurately value a property like an appraiser would. And a Dash agent understands the contract like an attorney. So you talk about a winning combination, that's a triple threat right there. If you put those 3 things together, that's how ultimately you build trust with your clients, right? And that's the professional side. And then you've got the personalities. So professionals with personality, all of you guys are down to earth, you're relatable, you can read a room, you know how to read people. You're funny and you're fun. And I think that's important as well. And so I think people naturally gravitate to you. So when you put those things together, that's a pretty good combination, and that's what we're looking for. And you guys definitely have all of the above. So this format's going to be some Q&A. I'm going to tee you guys up. And then Maddie tells me that there's going to be an opportunity for anybody who wants to drop a question into the chat box. we'll go ahead and answer those near the end of the program, if you will. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, so let's start with kind of training and support. So if you think back to when you were first starting, like it's definitely overwhelming in terms of where to even start. When you go to real estate school, they teach you everything not to do to stay out of trouble, right? They don't really teach you anything about how to do this job. So I think that training and the support that you get early on is imperative to your success or failure, depending on how well it goes or how good it is. So KJ, so for you, you've been at now, what did we say, 8 months. When you think back on kind of the training and mentorship that you've received so far in your career, what have you found most impactful in helping you to get up to speed so quickly?
Well, I am a hands-on and visual learner, and I've known that about myself for a long time. So, reading something doesn't necessarily help me at all. Truly, like being in the situation and either failing or saying things the wrong way and figuring out the right way to say them, the way that it can resonate with someone is truly how I learn the best. And so, what I've found is that shadowing people has really been the most important thing for me. And I have learned and picked up, these little things that, wonderful agents before me have done that I really think that those little tidbits are, the piece that sets me apart, that I can have, I have picked up, a handful of things that I say while I'm going through showing a house that makes me feel like I'm providing that value, but I got that from someone before me because that's how you learn. You learn from better people, and the shadowing really was what helped me the most.
Yeah, for sure. I love that answer. I think you said it's people maybe not necessarily remember what you say, it's how you say it and how you made them feel. And then shadowing, you're absolutely right. Get out there in the field. There's nothing like watching someone who's like a pro in action. So that's great. Nevin, when you think back to like 2020, 5 years now, but like what stands out for you in terms of like those early days?
I mean, it's changed a lot since when I started at Dash. And now, like, I'm no longer in full-time production. I work more as broker in charge, managing partner down here in Charlotte. But the early days, like these newer agents have it so good compared to us back in the day, Shane. Let me just be clear about that.
Uphill
It was
both
so hard, Nevin.
Yes.
Hey, we had to learn off a PDF, but the shadowing was still exactly what we have today. And I kind of, similar to what KJ said, you always want to be surrounded by smarter people than you to learn, and you want to be put in uncomfortable positions to grow, right? If you're staying comfortable, you don't really see that growth over time. You want to kind of expand your reach, meet new clients out, and Dash really gives you an opportunity from day one to do so. And I think Andrew will probably touch on that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Where, Andrew, I don't know where you were at before, and I don't know you very well because you're in a different market than I am. But what Shane just said, you're at a different brokerage and did a lot less deals than you did here at Dash because we're probably giving you more at bats. If you
Absolutely.
feel as though what I love about Dash and the leads that we provide, sometimes if you're not in a program like this or getting the leads every month, you feel as though you have to convert every lead and there is no room for error, right?
Mhm.
Now, everyone would like to convert every lead, but point me in the direction that's ever happened, and I'll try to give you $1 million because I don't think that's ever happened, right? But you have to cut your teeth somewhere and kind of grow over time. And Dash, to me, at least in the beginning, when you're coming into an industry where I was moving from another state and I didn't have a sphere here, you have to build on those opportunities and get better at your craft every day. And the differentiator I see between us and different firms is that there is a people pushing you and supporting you to get better every day. And I think that's a huge differentiator for us is surrounding yourself with people that want to be great, and then getting the at-bats to give yourself some room to be great. because a lot of times you just don't have those opportunities.
Yeah. Dude, that's a great segue to Andrew. So what do you think, Andrew? Like compare and contrast here a little bit for us, specifically the training early on and the support. We know how important it is. What are some things that stand out for you?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that was different for me coming to Dash is when I first started onboarding is just how much they teach you on how to actually be a really good agent. But for my previous firm, I mean, they were great people, but they just kind of threw you out there and said, go figure it out. And then I did my best, but I closed 2 deals. What Dash really did was, for one, get me in front of clients. Two, teach me how to actually convert those leads. And three, give me a system that really helps me manage that kind of volume. Because you can get the leads and you can get in front of people, but if you're not managing those people after the fact, they're probably going to go to somebody else because you have to stay top of mind. So Dash really has those 3 ways of just keeping in front of people.
For sure. Caroline, I remember when you first started out, when you think back to those early days, like what sort of training and support do you think were instrumental for you?
I mean, like Nevin said, back on I mean, like 2 or 3 years ago was kind of different when we were on onboarding. But for me, the training, definitely the shadowing, mocking showings. But in my case, I'm very personal, and for me was a goal to be at the office every day when I was on onboarding, met everybody, talk with every single agent, be there, present. So I learned so much to be just from being at the office, talking with you, with every single agent, listen what you guys were talking about, your deals at the time. And I will say to every new agent or onboarding, like, take the opportunity that we have here in the office, be present, be here. So, because that is a really good way that you will learn and you will listen and be immersed on what we do every day. And definitely the shadowings for me, I shadow everywhere at that point. I was picking up shadowings. Also, if I already did it, I was, learning from you, from Nevin, from all the producers at that time. So, yep.
Yeah. So speaking of the office, like how important do you guys think culture is, office environment, being there, plugging in, talking shop? Like, is that like instrumental or overrated?
It's so important.
It's so important.
Could you just give me an underrated, overrated question?
I
Because
did. Sorry.
yeah, it's so good. It is, I think there is a direct correlation to answer your question between top producers and being in the office. Now, you don't want to be in the office every day because that means you don't have clients that are showing homes, right? I want you to be at inspections, closings, all these things. But for us, and Shane, we talk about it a lot. Being in the office, especially when you're newer and feeling comfortable with the agents, comfortable enough to ask questions that you don't know the answers to, so that you can file that away for when that situation arises in the future. Because if you haven't done a lot of deals in real estate, guys, or a lot of transactions, you will see common threads pop up over and over and over again. And we always preach proactiveness here. So if you're proactively coming into the office, one, people are going to be more willing to help you because they know who you are and they make you feel like you're a comfortable part of the office. And two, it's going to strive you to be greater because you're going to see the names on the board, right, that are doing 20 plus a year, 30 plus a year. And you can go to them and say like, hey, I just started here. And the great thing about Dash is they are going to lend you a helping hand because that's how they were taught when we started out, right? When Carolina started out, I remember we talked all the time in the office. Shane, when I was newer at Dash, right, back in the early days, I didn't even have a beard at that point. I think I was a little scruffy. You were helping me out with showings and listing appointments and all these things that when you're starting out in real estate, you don't want to sound dumb in front of clients, but you also feel nervous about asking stupid questions, and Dash just removes that from the equation.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Did KJ or Andrew, did you guys did you have like one of those aha moments where things started to click for you? And if so, what that might have been, if you think back on it, to where, because we talked about it, just there's so much to learn. and it's trial and error. Sometimes you got to get out there and crash and burn. But I think we all at some point have that moment where the light bulb kind of goes off and you're like, okay, that was a little bit of a confidence builder, right? Because I think confidence is something that we probably don't talk enough about, but just the importance of being confident in yourself. And you may not have every answer. You don't need to, right? Like, it's perfectly okay to say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out and I'll get back to you. But anybody here just have a moment that you think back on where like things started to click for you?
I can't come up with a specific moment necessarily, but something that I think has helped me, not just in real estate, but growing and being confident to talk to people. I can't remember where I heard it, but someone said, be the most comfortable in the conversation. If you're having a conversation with a client and you are the most comfortable, you are talking slower, you're more relaxed, you're giving off that energy to your client. That's a confident energy to be comfortable in a conversation that maybe you don't have the answer to, but you're providing comfort to yourself mentally because you're talking slower, you're able to think through things rather than talking really, really fast. And the client in turn is also like, wow, they hold themselves differently. They're able to speak confidently about something. And even when they don't know the answer, they felt comfortable to say that. So I think something that's just really helped me is to try to feel the most comfortable in any conversation.
And of course, in order to have those conversations, you need to have someone to have those conversations with. Andrew, what kind of advice would you have for someone who's just getting started when it comes to lead gen, right? Like finding those people to have those conversations with. And then once you do have clients to serve and help, how do you balance that in terms of spending time with them versus like continuing to, I guess, prospect or find more leads?
So on the lead generation side, full disclosure, all of my business has come from Zillow Flex, and it has been an absolute boon to my business. It gets you in front of people, and I don't have to pay for leads. I'm paying at closing. So if it's a bad lead, I don't pay for it. And I would highly recommend if you're a new agent to look into that lead program. That's what Dash provides. Regarding how to actually convert these leads, I always try to let people know that I'm here to help you make the best decision. I'm not here to sell you a house. I'm not here to make a commission. I'm here to help you with this journey and make sure that you make the right decision. And if we have problems, even if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go and figure out what that answer is. And if I don't know it, I know people who do know it. So just making them comfortable that, hey, you're in good hands. And yeah, that's pretty much how I do it.
I think, if you're meeting someone for the first time, especially a Zillow Flex lead, I'll just go there since you said it.
Yeah.
It's a cold internet lead. They've already found the house that they want to see. They hit the blue button. Next thing you know, your phone rings and you're meeting them at 123 Main Street. Whether it's a Zillow Flex lead or a referred lead from your sphere, you're still going to have that moment in time where you're going to meet them face to face for the first time. And I think one of the things that separates the good from the whatever agent is your ability to connect with people and to get them to kind of let their guard down and show their cards so you know exactly what you're working with. And I think there's definitely an art form to that. Carolina,
Yeah.
Can you speak to that for me? How do you go about doing that?
I mean, for me, especially at the beginning, when I was starting my career, my business, I was taking every single call. And more than like, I want to convert or I want to have a contract, for me, it was like every call was an opportunity to practice, to get at front, to learn and feel more and more and more confidence with what I was doing, right? And definitely when I met with leads, something I learned through shadowings and through the training and talking with you guys at the office, I think I mentioned that before, but be yourself, be you, get them to like you. you can, I mean, yes, we provide information, we show them that we know houses and almost like an inspector, but also get to know them, you know, get there, have fun with your clients, like be enthusiastic. Because if you are there like, hey, how are you? Yeah, let me show you a house. This is the kitchen. Oh, so exciting. It's not going to happen. You are not going to have that feeling, that rapport with your future client. So be excited. Let them know that that is something really nice and a good opportunity to show them the house. It's a new journey. So be excited about the process with every single house, every
Yeah.
single day.
Yeah. We like to say that like that first time you meet someone is like a first date. But the best agents are really good at getting that second date. So Nevin, like when you're working with your agents and you're talking around the office, like what are some of the tricks of the trade that you lean into to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to get those second dates? Like what are you doing the first time you meet someone you're showing a house to?
Yeah. I think when we all started off, like we all preach the home value contract, and that is incredibly important, 100%, right? That first date is all about how are you making that client feel. And that's all it is building that rapport and how you make that client feel. The likelihood for that client to go under contract on the first home you see is so minimal. We put an emphasis on getting the second date. What I love about Dash and the training program is that I know all of us in this panel probably do it a little bit differently, right? There are no scripts that we abide to. We don't have a script that you're like, hey, we're going to say this and we're going to go from here and it's going to be super linear, right? Because when you're showing a client, how are you showing a client in this linear pattern way when every single client you're going to deal with is differently, right? So we're trying to train everyone on, when we try to talk about it in our office is we'll be proactive about objection handling because everyone's going to have those. We're going to make sure that we smile, make eye contact. Carolina said it, be enthusiastic with every client. And at the same time, like be yourself, because if you are not yourself in front of your client, maybe it doesn't show the first showing or the second showing, but if you're on the third or fourth showing, they're going to pick up that you are not being true to who you are and trying to chameleon and blend in a little bit. And I think you get much better results. And I think all of us here can attest to that, where if you're yourself and you still know your information inside and out, obviously you want to bring that value, but you want to make sure that your clients feel comfortable being with you for 4 hours on a Saturday when you're showing them multiple homes, right? And they want to see you again. That's the whole point of a second date. If you have a first date and that client or whatever your first date looks like, and they don't want to see you again, good luck, because you're never going to get in front of them again, right?
For sure. And to those agents that are in boot camp right now watching this, like one of the things that stood out for me is like, I want to get that second date and I want to get it as soon as possible. This was so much fun. Like, when are you guys available? Let's do it again. Like, what are you doing tomorrow? Like, the further the days go by between the first time and the second time you meet them, like I kind of feel like the odds start to slip away that you may never see them again. So know how to end that first appointment, I guess is what I'm trying to say, Nev. Like, make sure you know what you're going to do for that appointment.
Yeah, set up that appointment immediately.
Exactly.
And you should not be afraid to ask your clients, like, hey, when's the best time for you to see another house? Right? Like everyone should be asking at the end of the first date, because it puts you in position where like, okay, they say Saturday mornings is the best time. Well, guess what we're going to do? After we get out here, I'm going to text you, say thank you for the time. It was so great meeting you guys. I'm going to send you a few properties that I think match your criteria that we can go check out Saturday morning. How does that sound? Sounds awesome. Well, I can show them right now to you, and we can schedule them right now if you'd like, right? Like setting the tone early is super critical to your success with that client long term.
Yeah. And I always ask, for example, adding to what Nevin said, I always ask, like, are you renting? Do you have a house to sell? And if you are renting, when your lease ends? So that gives me an idea. And I tell them, like, okay, so your lease ends in 2-3 months. And I let them know, I will do this as fast or slow that you want me to do it. I don't ask them, do you want to work for me? I'm already like, when is the best day for you to go out and check houses again? Like Nevin say, I always text them after, like, thank you for the opportunity to that you give me to show in this house. Here is some properties. What about next weekend? Always ask before that first date end those questions.
Yeah.
I
Which
agree.
is a
Totally
great
agree.
reminder, take good notes, right?
Oh yeah. Find out their why. Why are they here? Why'd they click on the blue button? Once you have that, you kind of have it in, like Carolina said, is their lease up in 2 months? Do they need to upsize? Do they need a downsize? Or we're buying for our kids because they're going to go to UNCC right down the street, right? Like if I know your why, I can help you so much more easier. If I don't get that why in that first appointment, then why were we even there?
Yeah.
KJ, you wanted to say something. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when I first meet someone, I'm basically saying it when I'm getting it out of the car. I'm like, hey, hi, it's so great to meet you. Thank you for coming today. I always thank them for meeting me. Obviously, they're the one that wanted to see the house, but like for them to be thanked, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. But also, I always say, why are we here? What do you love about this house? Like, why did you choose this house? And then, they tell me everything they liked about it. And I'm like, what about the area? Is this area specific to you? And it makes it really easy once, sometimes it's like pulling teeth, but once they, offer up some information that you can, pick and choose the questions that you want to take off of that. But like Carolina said, at the end of the first date, it's always, what's your timeline? Are you looking to buy in 2 weeks? Do you have 2 years? And I think that makes such a difference in, I guess, how you treat the relationship, because if someone is like frantic, then you don't necessarily want to be frantic, obviously, like I said before, but you want to kind of match their energy. Like you want to have urgency and that they feel like you also have urgency. But if someone is just like, I don't know, I'm kind of trying to look to see what I like because I'm going to buy in maybe a year, then you can be more relaxed and they can feel like you're not being pushy and that you can go on their timeline and that you can be patient.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep. Have a personality, be memorable too, right? Like it doesn't have to be a scary experience. It can be fun. I was used to try to like just drop in cheesy one-liners whenever I could just to get a laugh here and there. It never hurts, right?
No.
Question for you, Andrew. How do you manage expectations with buying property in North Carolina? And guess what I mean by that is this is a caveat emptor state, right? Buyer beware. So getting through that due diligence period, right? So we've met a client, we've been dating for a while, we've shown them houses, we're finally under contract. Sometimes that's the easier part. Getting them through due diligence can be a nightmare if you let it. So how do you manage those expectations? You've done a lot of deals now. What have you learned there?
One of the most important things I do is I always tell them, hey, if we get anything from the seller, we are lucky because they are not required to do anything for us after we're under contract. However, once we go into these due diligence periods, we're going to get inspections done. We're going to get, and we're going to take those to the seller. And we're going to, figure out what's wrong with this house. And then if it's a material fact, we have much more leverage to negotiate repairs because they then have to disclose that to every single person after if we terminate.
So you set that expectation. And I think you have to be crystal clear, especially we've got so many people moving here out of state. They've never heard of this foreign concept called due diligence. Like for new agents, especially, well, you got to get really good at explaining that because it's non-refundable. It's not coming back no matter what, appraisal, inspection, whatever, kiss it goodbye. You got to be able to be okay with losing that.
I have some buyers right now who are from California, and California works completely different than North Carolina. So you have to explain to them, hey, like due diligence, this is a thing. You don't get your money back. You don't, if once you put that down, it's non-refundable. And it's just so important to let them know that. Because it's just North and South Carolina, the only two states. It's different up here.
I mean, I don't think you can talk about it enough. Like, how many times do you guys talk about it with your clients? Like, if you say it once and just expect them to grasp it and understand it, you are just asking for trouble, right?
Yeah. No, I start off the first appointment. I bring it up the first thing that I see in the house that's an issue. And then every time we go in a house, every time I see something, I bring up due diligence, due diligence, due diligence. It's just so important.
Yeah.
SOI leads. Of course, we love those, right? Because the splits tend to be higher. It tends to be a better lead in general because it's not just a cold internet lead. You've got someone who already can speak to how awesome you are. How do you guys go about like trying to build that part of your business?
Well, for me, it's been a lot of past clients referrals. Um, it is hard to, I mean, of course, I mean, when you are out, church, gym, soccer, whatever you do, let people know what you're doing. I let them know, not like, hey, I'm a realtor, I want to sell or buy a house. No, just talking, be me. But I think in my case, the majority has been referrals from past clients. Like they're happy with what I have done with them, and they talk to me. They talk to their friends or family about me, and they refer to them.
Yeah, Nev, go ahead.
I want to touch base on the past client thing because there's not a better way to get a referral than having past clients. But first things first in this business, you have to have past clients and you need a lead source to get there. And we always talk about 100 past clients, get you bulletproof in this industry where
Yep.
bad market, good market, high interest rates, low interest rates, supply and demand all over the place. Doesn't matter. You're going to be getting referrals. The one thing I think we do exceptionally well is, and it's critical to your building your book of business, is past client touches almost every month, if not every month. I mean, we're doing a Charlotte Knights baseball game. I had a past client reach out that I've been texting back and forth for about 2 years sporadically, and we did the lottery cards for New Year's slash the holidays. He won a little bit of money and texted me right away. He's like, hey, me and my investment group are looking to buy a newer multifamily. Can you help us with that? I had been reaching out every quarter, every 6 months for like that 2 month period. And the reason he reached out was because of a lottery card that I sent him over New Year's, right? A lot of people love reaching out to past clients, but don't want to put the work in. I understand that. We almost do the work for you where, hey, we're doing this event, we're putting on this event. And it's super, super easy then for the agent to just be like, hey, it's a Dash branded event that Dash is basically paying for it, or they are paying for it, that I don't have to go out of pocket. And it makes me look like a rock star to my past clients. And it's the easiest way to get past client referrals because you stay top of mind literally every month.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I let them know. Like this morning at my closing, I let her know, like, hey, now you are a client, so be aware. We're going to send you emails every month with fun activities. So let's keep in touch. You can bring a friend, you can bring a family member, whatever. But I let them know every time I closing, like, now you are part of Dash family. So be aware, we're going to send you information and activities. I text them or email them, happy anniversary house or happy birthday, keep in touch, dogs, kids, because it's not like, okay, we close, bye, see you later, give me the check. It's not what we want. We want to build a business, right? And we want their referrals.
5-star reviews. Come on.
5-star reviews.
I can't believe we've gone 42 minutes and we haven't talked about a 5-star review. That's everything, right?
You're
I
the
can tell you
host.
how awesome I am, but it's better if everybody else tells me how awesome I am, right?
100%. And I think like really personal closing gifts as well. Like we don't talk about that enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ordered like 30 something ornaments a couple years ago and sent them all out because everyone hangs ornaments almost every year, right? And it's just like, oh man, this guy putting up his ornaments, his Dash Carolina, my info on the back, but also the 5-star review, Shane, right? Like every single client we close, we prompt an email within 2 days after closing because that's when the warmest time is. When they want to give you a 5-star review because they're so happy. And when you're new in this business, you need reputation as quickly as possible. And people look you up. If you don't think they look you up, you're wrong. So the 5-star reviews is critical to your business and past clients.
KJ, you got your hand up.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say about that is obviously we have that email that prompts us to send it out a couple of days after closing. But what I've found is a lot of people don't check their email, or it goes directly to spam after your closing is over. And I'm just not afraid to ask them directly if they'll give me a review.
Yeah.
Because
That's great.
I know that if for a fact that, if we didn't have a great transaction, or if there were some hiccups that, like, maybe there were some things that happened, maybe I won't do that. But if I know that the transaction went really well, and that they were really happy at the end of the day, I feel very comfortable texting them and just saying, hey, would you be willing to give me a review? I'm not, necessarily asking for a 5-star review, but I'm assuming that that's what they're going to give me if I'm asking for a review. And most people are really happy to do it. And actually, the psychology behind it is them actually putting into words what I have done for them, is like, oh, wow, she actually did such a good job. Maybe someone else can use her.
Mhm.
It's just so powerful. I mean, I would encourage you to get as many reviews as possible. 5-star, of course. We have more 5-star reviews of anyone. Sorry, in the state of North Carolina. And nowadays, it's no big deal to ask someone for a review. I mean, think before you order anything on Amazon or you decide where you're going to go out to eat,
We check reviews.
look
Yes.
at their reviews. It's no big deal. Andrew, I think one of the things that makes us unique is that we talk people out of houses. I'm assuming you didn't do that at your previous stop, but what does that mean for those who've never heard that before? What does that mean, like when you are talking someone out of houses?
So as soon as I meet them, I instantly go and I go around the foundation. I look for cracks in the foundation. I look for things that are wrong with the home. They're going to cost them money long term. Because at the end of the day, my job is not to tell them how pretty the countertops are or, look how beautiful the home is. My job is to find things in the home that are going to cost them money. So I try to find those things and then make sure they know as many things wrong with the house as possible before putting an offer in. And it just goes back into helping them make the best decision.
Mhm.
And trust. That builds so much trust right off the bat. Because
It
people
certainly
don't talk
makes it
about
different.
people don't talk about how much people don't trust us.
Mhm.
So if you're building that trust right off the bat, hey, I don't want you to make a bad financial decision. It's my job to help you make the best financial decision that you can. And you're pointing out every little thing that could cost them money. They're like, oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I guarantee you, every realtor they've talked to before, and for the most part, has gone in there and tried to sell them the home. So
Mhm.
when we meet them and we don't try to do that, we stand out automatically. And it's such a huge advantage. And you're also helping them. So it's even better for them too.
You're doing the right thing, especially
Yep.
in a state where you have that due diligence fee, right, Nevin?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time, but we don't sell homes, we sell ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And what's the best way to sell yourself is to instantly gain that trust by telling a potential client on a first time client meeting, like, hey, I'm not trying to sell you on this home in particular. You're not going to make money when you sell the home, you make money when you buy the house, right? So we want to make sure that the HVAC is in decent condition or in good enough condition, because the day after you close on this property, if it goes bad, you're looking at 10 to 15K right there that you were not anticipating that you have to replace immediately, right? This is a buyer beware state. We want to go through all these options. We teach this in training. Our agents love it because it actually helps them long term. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
not going to sell the first house that you meet with this client. That's completely fine because I'm not worried about the one transaction. We're not transactional brokers here. We're relationship building brokers. And that's the best way to do it, is to earn that trust right off the bat with the home value contract, but particularly the home part of that HVC is critical and paramount to building that relationship for the long term.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jen?
to the point, I think you have to be in the mindset that the first or the second or the third or even the whole first visit. I have people from Florida that have been up here 3 separate times, and we've looked at houses for 2 days, all 3 times that they've been here. I mean, we're up to like 45 houses, but they appreciate the patience because they want to see everything that's available to them. And it's about building relationships at the end of the day, because you're not going to get a referral if you didn't build a relationship.
That's right. I'm so glad you said that too, because if you think about it, like what are the odds that somebody's going to buy the first house they saw? Should they buy the first house they see? No, of course not. So if you're sitting there picking everything apart about that first house you show them and you are trying to talk them out of buying that first house, then you're probably doing that wrong too, right? So in the beginning, focus on getting to know them, ask the right questions, listen, pay attention, take good notes, and then eventually, once they've started to like you, you can build in that trust factor and show off your real estate expertise by pointing out all the things that are wrong about a house, almost like a home inspector would. So you guys are absolutely spot on with all of that. Is there anything else that you guys want to say before we turn it over to Maddie for the questions that we're getting from those that are watching? Any advice or anything that stands out to you?
I will say when you're out showing houses, if you are in onboarding and learning, uh, keep shadowing, be here at the office, answer your phone. Yes, talk that out of the house, but be always positive, enthusiastic. Show yourself as you are, and don't be afraid. And we are here for learn for help you and
Don't
to
be
learn.
afraid. I freaking love that. Thank you for saying that. Andrew, last week you told me the secret to your success was simply availability.
I am always available for my clients. If they call me at 10 o'clock at night, I answer the phone. And I think that's where I build trust so quickly with them is whenever they call me, I'm always there. So a lot of agents don't answer their phones, and there's that anxiety starts building up over time when they don't hear from you. Because when they're calling you, there's a problem. But I always make sure I cut that off and just make sure that I instantly they hear from me. So that anxiety doesn't build, and they always know that, hey, I'm here to help you. Another thing that you guys can do, especially just starting off, that really, really helps is learn, like be a perpetual beta. Make sure that you are constantly learning and you never feel like you never think that you know everything because you don't.
Yeah.
And if you always are learning and always growing, you'll just get better and better.
There's so much to learn. I mean, this is a short 45 minutes to an hour that we have together, but we haven't talked about negotiating. I mean, there's just so many aspects to this job that you got to plug in, be around people who are in it every day. And because of the opportunities in terms of the at-bats, like Carolina said, if you go out there and you strike out, big deal. You're going to get, you'll get another phone call tomorrow or two. And I think that takes some of that pressure off where it's like, oh my God, I've got to hit a home run every time. Maddie, how are we doing on time?
Good. So we got about 9 minutes left in this. We've got a handful of questions, none for anybody specific. So if it feels good to you
Darn
to
it.
speak up, you already know the finger thing. Shane will facilitate that conversation. The first two questions kind of go hand in hand, so I'm just gonna throw them out there. How do you guys stay motivated when things slow down? Obviously, real estate's not a consistent game throughout the year, whether it's leads, deals, or just confidence. And the second question, essentially the same. Was there ever a time when you felt mentally held back? And if so, what did you tell yourself or what did you do to get out of it?
Love those questions.
Yeah, those are good, right?
Those are really good. Yeah, KJ.
I think going back to the basics, really. So like if I, feel like mentally I'm out of it, or I'm not being as enthusiastic as I should be, like I'm going back to how do you answer the phone and how do you set an appointment? And whenever you first meet them, how is your energy? And I'm thinking about things rather than the transaction or converting. I'm thinking about things that I can change personally easily. So it's you're answering the phone and you're talking and you're smiling. And you get out of the car and you're enthusiastic and excited to show them the house and cracking jokes or whatever.
Yep.
But it's really just going back to how you started, what worked when you started, and, just feeling comfortable again.
Yeah. Devin, what you got?
Piggyback off what KJ said, like real estate's always, we call it a roller coaster. But if you are putting the prep and doing the work, and I always talk about consistency, discipline, and self accountability are the three things that if you are putting those three things together, you have the discipline to follow up with clients on time. You have the availability to answer a call or answer a text whenever. Um, and then the discipline and self accountability be like, hey, this is not going to be every week. I'm not going to get a contract. That's not how these things work. But if you're putting in the work and putting in the prep, things are going to pay off for you. And they typically do, where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm showing 5 clients at once, and then I'm going to go under contract with 5 people, right? Like you're like, you're tired, and then you hit it, and you're like, this is the best feeling ever. I also like the mentality question. I like to look back. I read a book from Dan Shaughnessy about Bill Russell, and he threw up before every game, 30 minutes before the game, and the guy has 11 rings. So if he can do that and be confident while playing, why can't I? So I always said like 30 to 45 minutes of confidence every showing you get out of your car. Just like KJ said, I'm smiling, eye contact, everything like that. If I get back in my car and cry, whatever, but no one needs to see that. So just the 30 to 45 minutes of confidence. If Bill Russell could do it, why can't I?
Yeah, and I would just say celebrate the wins. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a tough job, and there could be days, weeks, God forbid, months that go by between now and the next win. So when you do win, when you do get that contract, we're big on recognition in terms of recognizing that success. Take a moment to just appreciate and celebrate that small victory. Now, of course, you're not at the finish line. You still got to get them there. But take some time and celebrate when good things happen. Acknowledge that. And then make sure you've got someone that you can vent to,
Mm-hmm.
a shoulder to cry on, if you will. Like that's why I came into the office because
Oh, yeah.
I needed a break from out there. And sometimes I came into work, not because I wanted to talk about work, but I wanted to talk about anything but work. But also at the same time, if I needed someone who could relate to my situation,
Mm-hmm.
and just listen and maybe not necessarily have all the answers. That's part of that support system that we kind of started out with talking about in the early beginning is make sure you've got that because if you're not celebrating the wins and if you don't have someone there to like pick you up and dust you off and get you back out there,
Mm-hmm.
my guess is those are the 9 out of 10 that don't make it out of that
Yeah,
first year. You gotta do that.
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure. And I do want to say, although you guys are the pros, like I've sat back and watched you guys kill it for the 5 years that I've been at Dash. And at Dash, we live and breathe this do the right thing every single time at all costs. And what I see that as is consistency, right? You show up for your
Mm-hmm.
business, you do the right thing every single day when it's hard, and it all starts to pay off. So absolutely love that. We have
Yes.
2 more questions I'm also going to jam together because I think they kind of coincide as well.
Yep.
What does a successful slash productive day to you all look like? What is one trait you think you need to be successful? Kind of leans into the question we were just answering. And then going back to the what does a successful day look like? What are some habits that you guys function with that keeps your business moving forward?
I know specifically like my morning routine, I get up and I make sure that my real estate to-dos are done before 12 o'clock because I want to make sure I'm available to go show homes if I get a call. And I don't want to have that hanging over me. So I make sure I reach out to clients. I do all those things, do my, I guess, admin work in the mornings, knock
Mm-hmm.
that out. And then if I don't get calls, I get the rest of the day to do what I want to do. And just making sure that you get that easy stuff done early so it's not dragging you down all day.
Yeah.
And then at what point in the day do you do your hair or you just wake up and it looks like that?
He
Well,
wakes up like that.
Jeez. KJ?
one thing that I found that really works well for me when I know that I have a busy day lined up. So like if I have people in from out of state or we just have 3 houses, whatever it is. Obviously I'm scheduling them the day before, reaching out to the agent to make sure that they're offering commission. Because if they're not, I want my buyers to know that going
Mhm.
into the house. I don't want anyone to be surprised. But I'm also loading those MLS numbers into my MLS Touch app, into where you can put the MLS numbers in. I forget the little
Yeah.
button in there.
Yeah.
But they don't go away until you exit them out. So I put them in the day before, and then I have them there really easy whenever we're going house to house, and it makes it so much more simple. So you're not like researching it and having to wait around. It's just You have it pulled up when you walk in the door. And if you don't remember it from looking at it in the car before you walk in the door, it's right there. And all the disclosures are right there, and all of the remarks are right there. Um, so that really helps me because it helps me feel more organized, especially if I have a full day. I can load, up to 10 houses and they're all at my fingertips.
Yeah. I
Such a
like to have a book note, sorry, and take notes about things I have to do during the day, who I need to call, send texts, follow up people, because it can be a lot sometimes. So I don't want to forget. So I put notes all the time. Also, when this is your own business and you have your own schedule, I personally try to have like consistency. Like for me, it is important that at least two first time meetings every week, follow my nurtures, check my contracts, like Andrew say, be agent zero or do my to-dos before I start my showings, because then, life happens. You are busy with showings, then you have personal stuff, and you don't know, like, oh, I forgot to do this, and this was urgent. I didn't do it in the morning. So that is really important.
Yep. And get good at multitasking. I promise you, your phone is going to ring at the worst possible time. Am I right, guys? Like you're either in the shower, you're making dinner, you're at a soccer game, you're already showing houses, you're already on the other line with someone. Like
Always, always
the
at the
phone never
restaurant.
rings when you're like, boy, I wish the phone would
No.
ring right now. So you're gonna have to just suck it up and answer that call because that's a lead coming in who wants to see a house. And you got to get good at multitasking and tap dancing. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and just last question, this is probably more Dash specific and it goes into organization and just, having the tools in your tool belt. What marketing materials are provided to you guys? And do you have any marketing tips that helped you in your first year? I know Zillow definitely helps get your name out there and get you in front of people, but just anything top of mind that comes to you guys when you think about that.
I think the buyer packet is a huge plus.
Mm.
I know, some firms have their version of it, but I think ours is so helpful. And I get it. 8 out of 10 clients,
Mhm.
whenever I finish presenting it to them, they're like, wow, this is
Yes.
amazing. I've never gotten this. There's so much information here. And like it's info overload for them, obviously, but you send it with them and they can read it 10 more times. And you say, please call me because I know you're going to have questions. But it's such a helpful thing because no one knows anything about what we're doing, or else they wouldn't be using an agent. And for us to provide everything there for them it's immeasurably helpful.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The buyer packet, and then we have the seller's guide. We didn't even get into listings. My
I
goodness.
know. I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
But the seller's guide is
It's
unbelievable.
amazing.
Proven, trusted, 5-star rated. The most 5-star Google and Zillow reviews in the triangle. That's for Raleigh. But when I think of marketing, I hate to just kind of go back to that 5-star review, but is there anything better than that in terms of if you're really trying to sell yourself?
Mhm.
Let your past clients do the dirty work for you. I think that's really, really important. And yes, of course, we got a buyer's guide, we got a seller's guide,
The
uh,
PSP.
PSP. But, we have a whole team in the background running behind
Yes.
us to make us look better in front of our clients, whether it's doing the CMAs for us or writing offers for us so you
Mhm.
can get some of that time back for yourself and your family. So much to get into, Maddie. This time just flew by.
Yeah.
Looks like we're already overtime, but hopefully you guys, even if you learned one thing, I think that was probably worthwhile.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. And honestly, thanks to you guys, the panelists, for, letting us pick your brains. Thanks to everybody that showed up and, wants to benefit their business. Probably just in the sake of time, we'll kind of wrap things up. As you guys are exiting, I'm just going to share my screen. I've got a QR code with, the other events that we've got coming up. We've got CE opportunities and what have you not. So definitely take advantage of those. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah,
Do you guys have anything you want
and
to
thanks
say?
to the panel. You guys were awesome today. Really appreciate your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
attending. Maddie, great sweater today. I didn't know we were supposed to be matching.
These.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. And just, attendees, scan that QR code and we'll see y'all in our events soon.
Bye. Have
Thank
fun.
you. Enjoy the rest of y'all's day.
Bye.